I bet you didn't know. Your dog is staring at you right now. Not at the wall behind you, not at the door. At you. You assume you know what this means. Maybe you think it means hunger, or boredom, or love. The real answer is far stranger and far more limited than you think. Your dog is not having a conversation with you in their head. They are not narrating their day. They cannot wonder what you did yesterday, and they cannot worry about tomorrow at all. Your dog's mind is built entirely differently from yours, and understanding how is going to change the way you see that stare forever. Start with the most basic fact about canine cognition. Dogs do not think in language. You experience your own thoughts as a kind of internal monologue, a stream of words narrating your existence. Dogs have no such stream. There is no inner voice saying, "I want food," or "I miss my owner." Instead, what's happening inside that skull is closer to a continuous flood of sensory impressions, associations, and emotional states layered on top of each other with no linguistic translation at all. So what is actually happening when your dog stares at you? Cognitive scientist Alexandra Horowitz, who has spent her career studying dog cognition at Barnard College, describes the canine experience of the world as Umwelt, a term borrowed from biology meaning the specific perceptual universe an animal inhabits. For dogs, that universe is overwhelmingly built from smell. Your dog's olfactory bulb, the part of the brain responsible for processing scent, is proportionally about 40 times larger than yours. While you are reading this sentence visually, your dog, if it were in the room, would be assembling an entire narrative of who walked past your door an hour ago, what they ate, and whether they were anxious, purely from scent residue. That stare you're getting right now is not primarily visual information being processed the way you'd process a face. It is layered with scent memory, with the specific sound of your footsteps, with vibration through the floor, and with associative memory tied to your specific patterns of behavior. This brings us to a critical and counterintuitive truth. Your dog does not think about you the way you think about your dog. You hold a mental model of your dog as an individual with a past and a future, someone who was a puppy, who will one day be old. Your dog's relationship to time works completely differently. Neuroscientist Gregory Burns at Emory University ran some of the first fMRI studies on awake, unrestrained dogs, training them to lie still in a scanner voluntarily. What he found suggests dogs experience something closer to an extended present rather than a structured timeline of past, present, and future the way humans construct it. This doesn't mean dogs have no memory. They clearly do. Ask any dog that's been to the vet and then trembles in the car a year later near that same building. But this isn't the dog consciously recalling, "I went to the vet last June and it was unpleasant." It is closer to an immediate emotional and sensory reaction triggered directly by present moment cues, smell, sound, visual pattern, without the autobiographical narrative humans attach to memory. Researchers call this episodic-like memory, deliberately avoiding the word episodic alone, because that term implies the kind of self-aware, narrated recall that current evidence suggests dogs do not have. So when your dog stares at you, they are not thinking, "I remember when we used to do this every evening." They are experiencing something more like an intensely present tense bundle of associations. Your specific scent, your body language, the time of day encoded through light and temperature, and a learned emotional expectation based on thousands of repetitions of this exact moment. Here's where it gets genuinely strange. Dogs are exceptionally good at reading human faces, arguably better than any other species, including some primates. Researcher Julian Kaminsky at the University of Portsmouth discovered something remarkable. Dogs raise their eyebrows and widen their eyes specifically when humans are looking at them, producing what researchers call the puppy dog eyes expression. This expression barely exists when dogs are alone or facing away from a human. It is essentially a social tool, refined over thousands of years of domestication, specifically engineered through selective breeding to manipulate human emotional response. Your dog isn't performing complex theory of mind when they make that face. They are not calculating, "If I look sad, my human will feel guilty and give me food." Their brain has simply been shaped, generation after generation, to produce an expression that triggers caregiving instincts in humans, the same instincts that evolved to respond to human infant faces. In other words, when your dog stares at you with that classic head tilt and soft eyes, a significant part of what's happening is not calculation. It's closer to an evolved reflex that happens to look remarkably like longing. But that doesn't mean there's nothing going on emotionally. Quite the opposite. Neuroscientist Gregory Burns's brain imaging work found that the caudate nucleus, a brain region associated with anticipation and reward in humans, activates in dogs in response to the scent of their owner specifically, more than any other scent, including unfamiliar humans or even other familiar people. This is not abstract thought. This is something closer to a deeply embedded, almost involuntary recognition response, your specific identity registering at a neurological level as a primary source of safety and reward. So what is your dog thinking? In that exact moment, they're staring at you. The most accurate answer science can currently offer is this: not a sentence, not a narrative. Something closer to a dense, wordless bundle of expectation built from scent, sound, light, learned routine, and an evolutionarily ancient reward circuit lighting up because you, specifically, represent safety. There's no internal voice asking, "What is my owner thinking?" There is, instead, an immediate, full-bodied orientation towards you, the central reliable feature of their entire sensory and emotional world. This is not a lesser form of thought, it is a different one, built around presence rather than narrative, around scent rather than language, around immediate emotional truth rather than autobiographical memory. So the next time your dog stares at you from across the room, you don't need to wonder what story is playing in their head. There isn't one. What's there instead is something quieter and, in its own way, more honest. An animal experiencing you completely, right now, without past or future getting in the way. If you learned something new, be sure to like and follow for more facts and stories.